For example, let me take it like one after the other. When we say high stakes means when you're having conversations about your livelihood, your health, your safety, your belief, and stuff like that. Anything that has important meaning to you. If you are discussing about things like this, we sometimes say they are very important topic. Yes, they are important, right? So a failed conversation about an important topic, it's calamity, right? You don't want that to happen. Imagine when you are talking about your health and the person you are talking about and the person you are talking to doesn't take it serious or has a different opinion with you, right? That might lead to serious outcome that you do not want. And because of the fact that opinions can vary, this can lead anybody involved in a crucial conversation to a moment of disappointment, right? And when we get to the moment of disappointment, what usually happens is our emotion will shoot up, right? We become emotional. It is normal to be emotional. In fact, human beings, we are generally emotional people. Everything we do involves our emotions, right? But when we are emotional in serious conversation, we tend to fail at it, right? Because our natural tendencies is that whenever we are faced with psychological threat, we naturally get into flight or fight mode. Whenever something is not going in our way, everyone wants to either you want to be silent or you want to fight. And fighting might mean verbal fighting or physical fighting, especially if you are a bodybuilder, you have the body, you have the muscle to fight. And if you don't have, sometimes you become verbally violent, you start becoming combative, you use languages that are not, friendly. You shout, you change your tone of conversation. Why? Because you are disappointed in the opinion of the other person. We go into mode like, oh my God, I can't believe you say this. I can't believe you believe this. I can't believe this kind of things, right? As the reason why we go into either silent mode, we move away from the conversation, or we want to fight, right? We go into violent mode. So is it good to move away from a conversation that we consider serious, or is it good to fight? And that's what we want to be discussing today. And I prepare actually that we are going to be analyzing the conversation that occurred between the National Association of Students, Nigerian Student Association of, no, how do I say that? NANS, that is National Association of Nigerian Student President, with the Minister of Education, right? I guess the student president met with the minister to discuss their grievances about the ongoing strike in the higher educational institution of Nigeria currently. And the conversation didn't go well. I mean, anyone that watched that video would see that the minister walked out after the student president relayed all his grievances. Why did the minister walk out? These are the questions we want to answer today. What are the mistakes that the student president made in that conversation? And if you are in that shoe, if you are the one making that conversation, either you are the student president or you are the minister, what are you going to do well? So these are the questions that I want to put forward today. These are the questions that I want us to go over while we explain the importance of crucial conversation. So I guess I've defined crucial conversation. I would like to recap that. I said conversation about high stakes topics that are very important to us. These are not topics about what do I eat or where do I eat, or what do I wear. These are simple topics. But when we are discussing serious topics about your livelihood, your income, let's say you are negotiating salary at work, right? You are discussing where do you want to work? You want to negotiate for work, or you are discussing belief, something you seriously believe in. As a Muslim, like you are discussing religion, right? You are discussing your akida and stuff like that. These are crucial conversations. And then when it's a conversation, it is often that you are discussing with someone, right? And then the person have a different opinion with you. And as a person, if you are disappointed in that person's opinion, what happens is that you become emotional, like we have discussed earlier on. So why is crucial conversation important? Because people have told me many times that, so for me, I can always leave the conversation that is not going my way. I mean, I don't want trouble. But the problem is when you move away from a serious conversation, when we move away with an opinion, when you have an opinion about a topic and you do not get to say it out, the problem is that we transfer this emotion, this energy into a different thing that most of the time is not effective, right? So let's say you have a serious conversation at work and you are shut away, either because you could not manage the conversation or the other person became violent, and then you walk away with opinion in your mind that you could not relay. So what is most likely happen is that you are going to transfer that emotions, that energy to your family member at home, you see? Or maybe you have a serious conversation with your wife. It's likely that if you could not resolve that conversation, if it became a failed conversation, you are likely going to transfer the aggression to your children, right? And you become maybe a bad father or something, or your neighbors, So some of the problems that we are facing today sometimes stemmed from the fact that we could not, use our emotion correctly. We couldn't use our energy in a proper way or in a proper channel. Right? That's why it's important. And again, failing at this kind of conversations can ruin relationships. It could ruin relationship between father and children, boss and staffs and employees. It could destroy organization. It could destroy society if you do not know how to manage conversations correctly. Guys, let me know if you are hearing me clearly, if I'm coming across, if you agree with what I'm saying. Thank you so much, Olatunji Adufe. Hello, doctor. It's past 5. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you can get me now. So, as I was saying, because we have crucial conversation with crucial people in our life, right? It is important we are able to manage it. We become experts at managing crucial conversation. Another very funny story that I want to use to buttress my fact on the importance of crucial conversation is, there's this very funny story of between husband and wife. So the husband noticed that every time he has an argument with his wife, the wife will usually walk away and then come back smiling and happy. So over time, the husband asks the wife that, why is it that every time we have argument and I'm serious, I'm ready to fight, you always walk away and then you come back happy and smiling? And the woman replied, because every time we argue, I always go and watch the toilet. And the husband replied, and how is that helpful? The woman replied that because I usually use your toothbrush, So that tells you that if you are not saying out our mind, we generally tend to act it in a funny way that is mostly less effective. Imagine when you're arguing with your partner and then all you can do is to go and, use his toothbrush to wash the toilet. That's a very funny one, right? So, and we all do that, we say, I move on from the conversation. So you see the person again, you don't want to greet him or her. You don't want to have anything to do with the person because you masked your opinion. You couldn't tell the person your opinion. So how do we get to say our opinion in a respectful way? How do we learn to be honest and respectful? You see the students, the student president, the first thing that went wrong is that you could see honesty in what he's saying. Like the man was actually complaining about the state of the bad state of education, right? Because strike after strike is not a good thing. So, but he could not get a positive reply. No reply even, we can say he couldn't get any reply. Talk more of like an action from the president because he was honest, but not really respectful. So if you want people to do something for you, if you want to get some people to act, you have to learn how to be honest and be respectful. And that is what we are here to talk about. That's what we are here to talk about. So enough of my introductions. How do we train ourselves? The questions that I want to analyze with you is how do we train ourselves to get ready or to prepare into conversations that are very serious and that we do not want to be, we don't want to fail at it, right? We want to get what we want out of the conversation. The very first thing to do, the number one step I have for you today is to define your outcome. Whenever you want to have a crucial conversation, an important conversation, you have to define your outcome. What are you looking for from this conversation? What is the goal of the conversation? And it's important I also mention that there are two ways to look at communication goals, right? There are short-term goals and there are long-term goals. So if your short-term goals is to win the conversation, right? Basically, the difference between short-term and long-term goals is the difference between debate and dialogue, right? So when we are debating, we are having the conversation to win. Somebody must win a debate, right? We are combative in debate. We are listing the flaws of the other person that we are talking to, like, you did this, you are bad, you are wrong, you are like this, you are like that. We are only focusing on listing the point, on the flaws of the person. We are combating the person. We are engaging to reply, right? And we are always looking at ourselves, right? We want to finish this conversation and feel good that I was able to hammer him. I like we say in Nigerian street, more fallen. So you want to fallen verbally. You want to fall whenever you are thinking like, I want to destroy the person I'm talking to. I want to destroy him verbally. Then you are thinking of the short-term goal. Whereas when you are looking at the long-term goal of a conversation, that means you are dialoguing. So when we dialogue to reach a shared understanding, right? We want to reach a common ground, right? Because everybody comes to every conversation, every communication with their own meaning, with their own opinion, with their own experiences, with their own point of view and stuff like that, right? Because we are all different, So we are all responsible. We all have the mind or our own mind to make meaning out of things. As our faces, our body, our structures, our statures are different. Our names are different. So is our opinion and our mindset, can be different about topic, even though you are born and raised in the same house with your siblings. Sometimes you realize that they see or behave in a different way, right? They believe differently. They approach things differently. And I'm not just talking about a belief, or I'm talking about even their lifestyle, like we've seen even twins between the first and the second, they will behave and approach life differently. So similarly, that's a reflection of their opinion being different, right? So, and whenever they want to communicate, they want to connect, because why do we communicate? We communicate to connect to each other. So whenever they want to communicate, they must be willing to arrive at a common ground, you know? So, and that's if they can dialogue. So if you are dialoguing to reach to a shared understanding between the person you are talking to and yourself, and then to, sometimes we dialogue to reaccess our own understanding. You know, sometimes we believe or we think we know something until you talk to somebody that have a different opinion. So when you are able to listen to the other person, then you can reaccess your own understanding. Like, oh, okay. Okay. You arrive at the aha moment, you know, that aha moment, moment. If you don't dialogue, you can't stay within yourself and then have a belief about something and then reaccess it yourself. It doesn't happen that way. You have to reach out. And reaching out, because, you know, like we say in communication, the easiest communication is with the person that have similar opinion with you. So when you talk too much with people that normally they will agree with you, you tend to, you become intellectually lazy. You know, you don't want to think things through before you say it, because these people you are talking to are your students. These people you are talking to are your children. These people you are talking to are your friends. If that happens too much, if you talk to people that have similar opinion with you too much, you become intellectually lazy. And then you don't see reason why you should think your ideas through. You should, you know, iron out the way you want to present whatever you believe in, right? So that's another important takeaway is that to differentiate between debate and dialogue, right? And finally, the reason why you want to consider dialoguing with people rather than debating with them is that it helps you develop your actual understanding. To really understand what you understand is to be able to differentiate the positive from the negative, right? To be able to differentiate from the opposite of whatever you believe in. For example, if I believe I'm wearing a white shirt, for me to appreciate white, I have to see black, right? Or if I say white is my best color, or white is better than black, for me to believe that, I have to be able to see black performing, you know, wrongly in a situation, right? So this is how we develop understanding, because we let ourselves out, we let our belief out, and we explore it with other people's belief. So that's the first step, guys. The first step, don't forget, is to define the outcome. And defining the outcome of conversation is to always look at the long-term goal. That is, I want to reach understanding. I want to reach a meaning. I want to reach a common goal, rather than I want to abuse this person. I want to embarrass this person, or I want to debate with this person, or I want to win the argument with the person, okay? So being able to differentiate these two goals help you, you know, to become successful at crucial conversations. Guys, let me know if you are Dr. Hector. Thank you for joining us. I can see Shamsuddin Ajalaru. Thank you for joining us. So moving on, if you guys agree with me that it's important, I mean, the difference between debate and dialogue. The second thing you want to do when you are having a crucial conversation is to be able to understand your emotions, right? And acknowledge your responsibility of that emotion. You see, like I said earlier on when I was defining crucial conversation, I said conversations that get our emotions rise up, right? So that emotion that went up, where is it coming from? Many times, we all believe that, oh, somebody makes me angry. That is not true, you know. You are the one responsible for your emotion, because our emotion is a result of our interpretation of reality. When things happen, we tell ourselves some stories inside. Okay, so that stories affect the way we respond, with the way we feel from inside. Our internal stories is what affect the way we feel, not really what is happening. Because, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you go to an office and you meet a rude staff, the staff or the receptionist is rude to you. And then you feel like, oh my God, this lady is rude or this guy is rude. You are interpreting the behavior of that person to be rude. And then you will also be angry because of that. Of course, nobody likes to be disrespected. But if you see the person's behavior and you feel like perhaps he's hungry or maybe he's not feeling fine. And the same thing happened to me, of recent. I went to a place and the person that I was talking to was not responding the way, the aura was very bad, And in my head, I was telling my head, like, this lady is a very rude person. But I decided to ask, like, are you fine? Are you okay? And then the woman, brought out a tissue and then burst into tears. And I was like, oh. Thank God I decided to ask. I would have left that place thinking that, the woman is rude or she's not nice and things like that. And sometimes many of us will go even further and say all ladies are rude and things like this. So you want to access your emotion. Where is he coming from? Remember, your feeling is your responsibility. Nobody is responsible to make you feel in any way, like to make you angry. You are angry because of what you are telling yourself about the situations that is before you, all right? Remember that. And when you have a feeling, because it's normal to have a feeling. If your feeling at the moment is not good about the conversation, you can also develop emotional vocabularies, and responsible emotional vocabulary. What do I mean by this? Is to be able to say, I am not happy. Don't say you are a bad person. You are. Yeah. Remember to use I. Okay. Say I feel, and then look for a way to postpone the conversation. That's good. Okay. It's not always good anyway, but it's good to say, I'm not feeling happy to have this conversation right now. Or there's some topic that you have to think before you can give a perfect reply, right? Or some topic just come to you unprepared. So you want to have, respectful emotional vocabulary. Like, I would like to have this conversation with you better. So can we do it after, like, or can I call you tomorrow? Or try to find a respectful way to postpone the conversation, rather than seeing the person as a rude person. How can you talk to me like this? How can you do this? How can you do that? Okay. So that's the number 2 point I have for you guys. Number 1 is to define your outcome and to decide if your outcome should be achieved using the short-term approach or the long-term approach. Don't forget, I said debate is a short-term approach and dialogue is a long-term approach. It gets you to long-term outcome, dialoguing. So number 3 point is that you want to listen and validate whosoever you are talking to, regardless of what type of. Yeah, right. Dr. Hector is saying emotions are our interpretations of reality. That's true. That's what it is, That's why sometimes you would say something to someone, the person will laugh. And the same thing you will say to another person, and the person will be angry and despise you because their interpretations of that thing you are saying is different, right? So we are always responsible we are responsible for whatever we feel, right? So number 3 is anytime you're having a dialogue, you want to listen and validate the other person, regardless of how widely different your opinion is, okay? So listening and validating are 2 different things, right? There's a skill for listening or to be able to listen to the other person. The idea is anytime you find yourself in a conversation, you should be able to learn how to engage with a consensual time management, Make sure that you are not the only one talking. You give the other person time to talk as well, okay? And the best way that I found, the best way you can do this is to ask questions. So I said earlier on that many of us don't know how to ask questions. So I'm going to give you simple tips or tips or clues of asking questions. Is that you can use TED, T-E-D, right? Tell, explain, and describe. So when you express your opinion or you explain yourself, if you want to hear from the other person, like in the case of the national student president, if let's say he expresses feeling, like three elements, there are three elements that must be there if you want to have any presentation or any argument. There must be fact, there must be story, and there must be question, right? So fact is, let's say the student president went into that meeting with some fact, like so number of students are not able to go to school, so number of schools are shut down, so number of, fact, raw fact. If let's say he has the fact with him about what happened related to the story, not that the minister's child or minister's daughter is graduating. I mean, that does not really affect, that's like a debate point, not a dialogue point. If you make the minister realize the problem in not bringing students into the conversation between the ASU and the ministry, or if you make the minister realize the problem in going into another strike, after so many other strikes, these are facts, and then the stories. How is this thing affect you? Like we, the students of Nigeria, we are not happy about this, and then you ask question. When you ask question, you can use TED, like, Mr. Minister, can you please tell us what you think you are, or tell us what you are doing, tell us how we can get involved with the conversation between the ASU and the ministry, or can you describe the ministry, or can you explain? Okay, TED, guys, TED is very important when you are asking questions. It's a good way to invite the other person into the conversation. And whatever they say, you want to listen to it and validate them. So you realize if you listen to them and you ask them using TED, it will get you closer to the aha moment, like, oh, so the best way that the student president would have benefited from that conversation is to ask the minister some questions, some serious questions, so that it allows the minister to commit himself. Because when he's replying, when somebody tells you that, you should tell them what you are doing. So if, let's say, the minister have not been doing anything, he will probably say some things and say, okay, promise himself, promise, to the public that we will do whatever is possible. Or when you ask the minister to describe and he couldn't say anything, he will also realize that, okay, I'm found wanting and I should do something. So, and that will happen to the public. So you get the minister to commit himself rather than, just being combative with the minister and shouting at him, because now he walked out of the conversation. Then what can you do? You can't really do anything anymore. So you won the debate, but you did not win the dialogue, right? The long-term outcome was not achieved. So that's why it's important to be able to dialogue and then listen and validate. So you validate by saying, oh, see, if somebody says 4 or 5 things to you, always look at one thing that you agree and start with that thing you agree with, okay? Let's say somebody say 5 things to you, you disagree with 4, and you agree with only 1, right? So reply the person and say, oh my God, I love what you said about, okay? I like your point on, however, so then slowly, you move into what you did not disagree. That way, that person will feel interested to talk to you. Not that he said 5 things and you disagree with the 5 things, you combatively reply that you are wrong, you are lying, you are not right, I mean, it doesn't get you into anything. You win the conversation, you will win the debate, but you will not be able to win the dialogue, okay? So the person will move away. because you are not listening to him, or you are not inviting him to the conversation, and then you are not validating the person. And that leads me into the number 4 point that I've prepared for you, is to be honest and not to be mean. You see, guys, people sometimes will say, I like to be honest. I'm a brutal, honest person. I like to say it the way it is, or this is what it is. It cannot be other than this. Yes, it cannot be other than that, but you are not saying what it is clearly. Obviously, if it's clear enough, the person you are talking to would have agreed or believe or accept you. So the person is not accepting yet because he probably did not understand to the level that you understood it, right? So if we want to be honest, we have to be clear. Being honest is being clear. Being honest is being specific, to be able to describe and explain our point clearly. That's to be honest. When you want to be honest, try your best to do away with labeling your opponent. Don't label the person you are talking to. And I've seen this a lot, especially on social media. I don't know how, I've seen wise, smart people, like brilliant guys doing lectures on social media. But the only thing is, from the communication perspective anyway, I find it difficult to understand their motive. Like, what's the motive? What's this guy trying to achieve? Because when you are talking to people, you want to change people's behavior. You want to change people's opinion about something, and you are attacking them. It's never possible, or you are disrespecting them. And why is it easy for us to disrespect? Is because we are always looking at the difference between us and the person. So we first of all label them, and then make it easy for us to, like if you say somebody, if you believe and you say it that somebody is stupid, it is easy to degrade a stupid man because of course he's stupid, right? But what about you that you are talking to a stupid person? So always move away from labeling people or differentiating people. Whatever anybody can believe in, try as much as possible to differentiate the personality from the opinion, because you know what? Opinion varies. It moves. Like as you grow up every day, as you move on with our life, we understand things, whatever we understand more. What you believe in yesterday become clearer to you today. It will continue to be clearer, You will be moving closer to it. That's how Allah has created this world. We are all learning every day. We are getting closer to clarity every day. So now maybe you are ahead of me, and the person you are talking to is not at the same level with you. So it's your responsibility to be clear enough, to be specific, to explain to the person rather than vilifying him or labeling him. And if you do not want to disrespect, move away from labeling people, seeing them as stupid, as crazy, as mad, and things like that, because it never helps. It never helps, and it's not being honest. To be honest is to say the fact, is to tell the story, and then to ask questions. And if you ask questions, it helps you to understand their perspective, why they believe what they believe, and it also helps you to see how you can help them. How can we move from it helps you to decide from from just telling them or teaching them, how can I assist them to move from that condition to a better performance? How can I assist them to understand better? How can I show them what I'm talking about? Sometimes it's not just one approach, When you use one approach, you describe it, they don't understand. Maybe you want to demonstrate it, right? And then again, it goes back to why you are having that conversation actually, because if you don't have a sincere purpose of the conversation, of the reason behind the conversation, or behind the lecture you are doing, you get tired easily. And when you get tired, you display it by becoming combative, like all these points I gave earlier on. So, guys, to be honest means to be specific. It means to be clear. Rather than going into abusing people and labeling people, try your possible best to be specific, to be clear. And number 5, before I leave it to questions, is number 5 is to have the conversation in a safe atmosphere. So in communication, safety is about the mutual understanding of the motive behind your point, especially if you are trying to change people's opinion, right? So if you are trying to change people's opinion, you must try your possible best. Dr. Hector is saying there's beauty in variation. I agree with you. Our vision of the truth might not be the only ultimate truth. Keeping an open mind with the possibility of us going into a conversation to learn something new or with incomplete truth instead of looking to conquer the opponent. Exactly. See, because I mean, there is no truth that is absolutely truth, right? Sometimes something is truth to you because of the way you are saying it. So the person that is saying it otherwise is also saying it in a certain way. To change that person is not just to change whatever they believe in, it's to change how they are seeing it. And to change how somebody sees something, you have to engage with the person, right? So for me now, I'm a Muslim, Dr. Hector is a Christian. If I want to change him, I cannot just tell him that, hey, Dr. Hector, you are unbeliever. I have to first of all understand his belief, maybe. I have to understand why he gets to what he believes in. And then if I don't invite him into the conversation and engage with him, and have in a safety atmosphere, we can never get into changing opinion or changing perspective, right? I can only tell him whatever I want to tell him. And then of course he will tell me whatever he wants to tell me. And that's debate, like I said. So moving forward is to have conversation in a safety environment. So what is safety? Safety is where you disarm the person you are talking to, right? You have to be able to disarm your opponent, give them reason like this, let them know your purpose, that you are actually for the betterment of us, not just for me. If I'm saying something to you, I'm not trying to win, because winning is for me, right? So the person will not allow me to win. That's the thing. So if sometimes you are talking to someone and the person is defensive, they are defensive because of the way. So people are usually, they are not defensive for what you are saying, okay? If you say, like, I'm a fat man, if I know that you are not saying that to degrade me or to abuse me, I will accept it because it's the truth, right? But if I know that you are saying that to abuse me, I will not agree, I will fight back. So people are not defensive for what you are saying. They become defensive for how you are saying it, or they are thinking of why you are saying it. So if they think you are saying it for your own benefit, they will defend it. Like, look around you, look over the social media and all these polarizations that we have left and right. The reason why it's there is because people that are having this conversation sometimes don't have the sincerity of purpose. Like, what do you want to achieve from this conversation? If you ask them, it's difficult to discover it, like to know, what are you trying to do? So if you really want to change people and you are saying something in a way, you have to let them know that, guys, I am not saying this to show you that I know more than you. I am not saying what I'm saying to let you know that I'm better than you. You must say it out and you must show them, right? So, and that's how to have safety atmosphere for the conversation, right? So there must be mutual respect. If you don't respect the person you are talking to, they will not respect you as well. And people say sometimes like, but why about when I'm being respectful and the other person is being disrespectful? The reality is it takes two to tango, right? It's not possible for one person to be disrespectful consistently. I mean, they might start it, but if you reply back in a respectful way, they will pick up, like somebody might say something in my comment and be disrespectful in their comment. You can disarm the person by not being disrespectful back. Okay, so they will pick up from there, especially in a conversation. So to do that is to calm the conversation down, or sometimes you have to be really, intelligence in conversation is about being social sensitive, right? If you are social sensitive, you are looking at the other person like what you're saying, how are they receiving it? Sometimes if I'm in a conversation, if I'm talking, it's not difficult for me to water it down with one or two joke, so that things come down, then you pick it up again. All right. So that's another example to maintain safety, to maintain decorum is important for us to be able to manage crucial conversation successfully. Let me quickly slow down here and then ask what you guys feel. Oh, Afafata Mikael. Thank you. What do you guys think of the 5 points so far? We started by saying the success of crucial conversation is depend on the health of our relationship, our connections, and crucial conversations happen in all of our relationships, right? It happens at home, it happens at work, it happens on social media, it happens with people we want something from, it happens with people that want something from us, right? So, and I said because they are crucial conversations, 3 things are important. 3 things are the reason why they are crucial. Number 1 is because it's a topic about something that we consider serious, and then our opinion varies on that topic. And because our opinion varies, we enter into a disappointment moment. And then because we are disappointed, what happens? We become emotional. So when we are emotional, the natural tendency is that we want to move away from the conversation, or we want to fight, or we go into violence. And I said violence can be physical violence. That's why you see people fighting. Like, what happened? Why are you fighting? He said this to me, he said that to me, right? That's an example of a failed crucial conversation. Or sometimes verbal violence, right? Verbal violence might mean when we are being combative, when we are compelling the other opponent, when we are just shouting, when we are, shaking. Sometimes you are shaking, right? So these things happen because you become extremely emotional, right? And that emotion at that moment is because you were disappointed in the other person's opinion. So I started by saying the first thing you want to do is to determine, do you want to have this conversation for the short-term goal or the long-term goal? Short-term goal, what can get you into it is to debate. You are listening to the person so that you can reply. You are combating with the person. You are looking for where they make mistakes so that you can reply back with another rejoinder. That's a debate. But when you are dialoguing, we are dialoguing to arrive into a common ground, to reaccess our understanding, to have an engagement, so that what's the benefit of that is to appreciate our understanding, to reassess our understanding, and to further develop our belief, right? Because there is no way you can know what you have is good if you cannot really determine what is bad. That's why you want to engage with somebody that have a negative opinion with you, rather than moving away, going fighting, or becoming unnecessarily angry. Number 2, we said you want to determine your emotion and take responsibility for your emotion. You want to know what are you feeling about that conversation and why are you feeling that way. The reason why you mostly feeling that way is because you are disappointed, and then you tell yourself some harsh stories about the reality, right? You are interpreting the reality. Sometimes people are saying something to us, they didn't mean bad, but you are taking it bad, and then you are angry, okay? While if you give them time, they might explain why they are saying what they are saying. Or if you give them time, you might see like the true meaning behind what they are saying, okay? So take responsibility of your emotion, reassess it, reassess your emotion about why you are angry. What is the reason why you are angry? Number two. So number three, I said to listen and validate with the person that you are talking to. Don't have a conversation. That's why we call it dialogue. It has to be two-way. No, it's not just you, only you talking. You have to give the person also opportunity to reply. And I said the best way to do that is to use TED. Ask them to tell you more, ask them to explain, and ask them to describe what they mean, right? And number four, we said is to be honest and not to be mean. No, there's nothing called brutal honesty. There's nothing called like that. See, anybody that say I am brutally honest, the person is care more about being brutal than being honest, right? So because being honest is being clear. Being honest is being specific, like I said. Okay, so if you are honest about something like, I have a firm disagreement with what you are saying, so I want to tell you the reason why I disagree with you. I do not just want to tell you I disagree with you. And if I tell you you do not agree with me, I want to find another way of telling you. I want to find another way of letting you see what I believe in, not just saying it once and then just generally believe that you will not disagree, you will not agree with me. So there's no need I should say it. And sometimes that's why we are angry. That's why we see reasons why we shouldn't have the conversation. And finally, I said to maintain the quorum, having the conversation in a safe atmosphere. And I said to have the conversation in a safe atmosphere is to reappraise your purpose, your purpose of the conversation. Like if the person is not being respectful, sit down, reassess why you are having the conversation initially, and say it out. Tell them, let them know, like, because when people are defensive or disrespectful, when they assess your motive of the conversation wrongly, when they think you're having the conversation for your own benefit, for your own personal benefit, they will see no reason why they should listen to you or they should agree with you. So you want to let them know that, hey, I'm not here to combat. I'm not here to win. I'm here to explain. I'm here to share. I'm here to have. So these are the ways to bring people into a safety environment where they will be willing to share with you, and then they will be willing to engage with you so that you guys can reach a common ground. So basically, these are the 5 points I want to share with you on having crucial conversation. So if you are more interested in this topic, you can check back on our website, easyresearchtalks.com. I think I will be putting up a post very, very soon on this topic where you can, and I will also share some tools, like some technical tools that you can put in place. You can start practicing on, really, my belief is that if you find something difficult or challenging, the best way to overcome that challenge is to put yourself towards the fear, okay? So if you are the type that's always moving out of conversation, like, I can't take it, start assessing little by little. Look around with people that you don't talk to anymore because you have different opinion. And reassess, like I just said, reassess why are you angry with that person? Why can't you talk to that person? So it could be because you are interpreting the situation wrongly, right? So reach out to the person, tell them how you feel, okay? Using a responsible language. Don't say, you are a bad person. Say, I was angry because I feel and feel. Can you tell me? You understand? So that's how to reach out to people. That's how to reassess. Don't say you are a bad person, you said this, you said that, without, telling them the facts, the story, and asking questions so that they can give you a response. And if we are to go back to the questions that I asked in the announcement that I made, that what was the conversational mistake that the National Student Nigerian Student Association president made in the conversation with the Minister of Education? Basically, we can say he was only talking, he was not inviting the minister to a dialogue. So he was more combative. You can see in him that he came for a short-term goal. He wanted to win the conversation, not really to get an outcome, or not really to get the minister to do something. So if you want the minister to do something, give the minister the facts and give him the story, how you are affected, and then ask him question. So, and I said to ask question is to use TED. Ask him to tell you what he's doing about it. Okay, ask him to explain what he's doing about it, or ask him to describe his role, or how he can get, things can get better. If he had done that, I believe the minister will not walk out from them. And then probably when the minister stay put, they will be able to arrive at a better outcome, more solutions, and probably they get the student back into school, right? So this is an example of why we want to train ourselves and get better at crucial conversation, because if you don't do it, people can get divorced for conversations like this. They move out of their marriage. People lose job because you cannot hold conversation like this. People sometimes lose friendship because they cannot hold conversation like this. So it is important, guys, always fact, story, question. Facts, story, question. And to ask question, use the language of tell me, use the language of explain to me, use the language of describe for me. So many thanks to you, Doctor. It is yeah, that's a very good question. Is it okay to walk away in a disrespectful manner when you are having crucial conversation? Really, again, it goes back to who you are, right? So you have to know yourself and the topic. There are some topics that, especially if I'm to share my own experience, if you ask me a question that I'm not prepared for, I would postpone it. I will not walk away. So there's a difference between postponing and walking away. I will tell you something like, you know what? I'm hungry. Can I call you back? Something like that. I will just find an excuse to tell you that I will come back to it. Then I'll give myself reason to think about what to tell you. Okay, that's my own approach. However, walking away for final walking away is not the best, because if you walk away for final walking away, you are going to be transferring that emotion to other things, to other people around you. I hope you get my point. So it's better to say we postpone it, and when everything calms down, when you have access, why is this person disrespectful? Does he or she think that I'm being selfish? Okay, how can I make him realize that I'm not selfish? Okay, because people are disrespectful, like I said, because of the way they are assessing your motive of that conversation. When they think that you are being selfish, when they think that you just want to win them, they will be disrespectful. So that's a natural tendency, okay? So I mean, that's my suggestion. I hope that really answered the question. So I'm leaving it open now, guys. You can ask me questions if you have any question about what I've been talking about. To buttress your second point, we are often, Dr. Hector is saying that to buttress your second point, we are often a product of our process. We enter every relationship or conversation with our baggages, experiences, or knowledge. That's very, very true. Guys, I think you guys are even more like, Dr. Hector is more of an expert of conversation than myself. So he's saying that understanding that your partner and yourself and managing that properly is key to achieving the long-term goal through dialogue. Exactly. I love that, Dr. Hector. So knowing that we all have the ability, like people say I mean, you hear people say you are entitled to your opinion. Yes, everyone is entitled to their opinion. We all have the ability to think. When you have an ability to think, and like they say, there's no idea that is entirely wrong, and there's no idea that is entirely right, okay? So, but we can all, get into a common ground where we respect each other if I'm not willing, if I'm not seeing you as less intelligent for thinking in a way, then I'm willing to engage with you. I want to know why you are thinking like this. I want to know what gets you into this thought, so that it's not necessarily mean that I'm going to accept your thought, but it might help me appreciate my own way of thinking. Like, oh, okay, that kind of a thing. So that's the beauty of dialoguing. Dialoguing is very, very beautiful. Guys, I'm open for more questions here. I appreciate everyone that have been following. This has been going on for more than 1 hour now. So I think I have fun. I don't know about you guys. Thank you. Olatunji Adufe said that answered the question. So guys, let me know if you want me to do this more often, like bring more communication topic like this, because I love communication. I teach communication, by the way. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of the talk. I teach communication, I teach media topic. So I love communication, guys. If you want me to do this more often, let me know. If you want me to do it in Yoruba, let me know. I mean, I speak Yoruba as well, and I speak English. I can do this in Yoruba and English, whichever you want. I'm willing to. What do you think? Should I continue in English next time, or should I make it in Yoruba? What do you guys think? Yoruba or English? Let's see what you vote for. Let's see what people are voting for, Yoruba or English. Because the benefit, if you ask me what's the motive of this, the motive is to give back, right? My motive is to give back, to share my own opinion. I'm not really an expert. No, I'm not here to tell you that you are not a good communicator. Really, I'm only here to share my own point of view. And I appreciate you for standing by, for staying true. So thank you, guys. I think I'm going to be calling it a day now. And I appreciate everyone, every participant, Dr. Hector, Adufe, Fatai, Mikael, and everyone. I appreciate you all. I appreciate. So hopefully we meet again very soon. I don't know if it's going to be weekly or monthly yet. I don't know, but I enjoy myself. I hope you guys enjoy. You can email me at easyresearchtalks@gmail.com. Visit our website, our YouTube channel, Facebook. You can reach out anyway, or anything you think I should talk about. I will always be willing to entertain you guys. So that's going to be all from me. Thank you for staying put. Thank you, guys. Bye.